Now this next step may seem quite obvious, but you'd be surprised how many people do not follow this. Tip number 5 is learn the investment basics. What this means is that while it can be quite easy for you to follow the advice that has been given to you by somebody you trust, maybe an older person in your family, maybe a friend or maybe a colleague, the fact is that ultimately these are your personal choices. And these personal choices ultimately need to fulfill your personal goals. Therefore, it is really important for you to understand at least the basics of what these different investment options are that are available to you, what are the choices that you have, and even the kind of tax liabilities, the kind of cash flow constraints, or the kind of restrictions that may be attached to each of these choices. Without knowing these basics, you will not be able to make an informed choice, and therefore you will be beholden to somebody else's advice as well as somebody else's understanding of your priorities. While this is something which may be good enough in the initial few years, as the amount of surplus money that you have grows and the amount of money that you need to allocate to investments becomes larger, it would be in your best interests to spend a little bit of time in learning these investment basics. And this is not something which needs to be very overwhelming. In fact, you will be surprised at how little there is to get you started on this journey. Just a bit of understanding of concepts like what is equity, what is debt, what is a fixed deposit, what is the kind of tax bracket that you currently fall in, maybe being comfortable with the idea of words like inflation, compounding, interest rates, just small basics which you come across every time you open a financial newspaper will hold you a good way to getting comfortable with reading a little bit more and understanding a little bit more about all the investment choices that you have. So don't be afraid of exploring a lot more in this field. I can personally vouch for it and tell you that this is a fascinating journey, and the more you read, the more you will find that these concepts are quite intuitive and they are really easy to follow. The kind of news that we get and the kind of information we often get bombarded with can make it feel like a huge, vast world. And that's not what I mean that you should become an expert on. No way, let's leave that to the experts. But definitely as a person who is going to be spending a lot of my hard-earned money in these investment choices, I think it is in my own best interest that I at least know what I'm getting into. So just being able to follow along when I'm being given some advice so that my choice is informed choice is what I mean by tip number 5.